Welcome, everybody, to a very special presentation by the Grape Company podcast. We are exactly 2 days away, 3 days away, 3 days away, 3 days away from the premiere of the Battle of the Five Armies, the final Middle-earth movie, perhaps of our time, at least until the Tolkien Estates loosens its iron grip on the Silmarillion. While Peter Jackson's making movies. But I digress. We are here tonight. So if you haven't yet, go watch the trailer for the Battle of the Five Armies. You done watching it? Okay, now you're ready to enjoy this broadcast. So all four of us have put together some decks that we feel are proper and thematic for the occasion, and we are going to attempt to best this extremely brutal quest, the final quest of the Hobbit Saga expansions. We're going to have a good time while we're doing it. We're here on Twitch. We have quite a few people in the chat room. Stefan, our friend from Montreal, who joined us beforehand for a little chat on Skype. He's one of our patrons, and you can become a patron too if you go to patreon.com/Graco. But enough advertising. Let's go ahead and get to the cards here. Who would like to talk about... you know what? I'm not even going to give you the option. Ian, I would love for you to talk about your deck first, because we have a very special appearance happening with your deck tonight. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about your little custom card there.
Okay, so in trying to... We wanted to keep the heroes as thematic as possible. There's one small problem, which is none of the elves are actually named in The Hobbit. So I wanted to run this nice Sylvan deck with Celeborn, Galadriel, Haldir, but it didn't feel right to have Thranduil, Randy Thrandy himself, not make an appearance. So I decided to replace Celeborn. That's what that nice alternate art card is. That's Thranduil, but he's working exactly the same. I didn't create a custom hero. Same stats as Celeborn, same ability. So the only thing that's changed is his art, the name, and battle here, along with Galadriel, who's kind of helping out from afar, and Haldir, well, just imagine him as some nameless elf who is part of the Mirkwood elves.
Cool. Dan, what have you got cooking over there besides the obvious giant bear that should be there on your deck?
Yeah, he's actually going to be play more of a part in this game than the next movie. I have a sneaking suspicion. Yeah, so Thalin is it's going to have to be an allowance for there's just not enough tactics dwarves right now that were actually at the battle, so we'll just pretend that Thalin was there, and that he exists in the Tolkien mythos. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty thematic. It's going to be eagles and dwarves and just killing stuff. So I dedicate this deck to Matthew.
Sounds pretty fun. Matthew, what have you got?
Well, I sort of got left over with the hodgepodge. Derek, you've got the dwarves covered. Ian's has the elven army. Dan's got Bjorn and a few more dwarves, and so sort of wanted to do the Men of Dale, and then there's like one card. So, I have all the Dale or Esgaroth cards, or at least most of them that fit within these spheres are in the deck. But then I've got a smattering of eagles. I have Defender of Ramas, who's pretending to be from Dale with his heavy armor there, and then some dwarf and stuff. So I'm kind of the hodgepodge. So it's just a mixture of all the armies of the Free Peoples.
Very cool. And I've got, obviously, the big man, Thorn, Oak, and Shield, Beefer, and Bomber. Just, as Matthew said, straight up dwarves, trying to crank out as many of these guys as I can. And I've thrown in a few other cards to help thematically. So I've got a few elves in my deck who benefit from Thranduil/Celeborn. I've got Ravenhill Scout to represent Dale, and I've got Ancestral Knowledge, which is a card that doesn't get used too much, but we'll hopefully use it to knock out some locations in conjunction with the Ravenhill Scout. So we'll see how that goes. All right, we ready to set up and tackle this puppy?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So we followed the first step of searching the encounter deck for Bold and adding him to the staging area. And before the hammer stroke falls, we're going to reveal 4 cards, and hopefully things will not get too hairy.
Yeah. We need to remember the first goblin revealed each round gains surge thanks to Bolg's effect.
Yep, good old
We also
Bold.
need to, I'm just saying this out loud for everyone's benefit, we also need to remember that each quest stage that does not have progress on it is going to have a trigger at the end of the round that does bad stuff. So it's one of those things that's easy to forget in this quest.
Yeah, well, we've gotten a lot of practice following the board with the current cycle. So hopefully we'll be able to keep up and not forget anything. But anyway, here we go. First card of the Battle of Five Armies is going to be... leaving you in suspense.
Oh.
All right, the Good to Bad Wolf Rider. When this enemy attacks, remove 1 progress from the current quest, which is going to surge thanks to...
Are we on 1B now then? Because I still see us on 1A.
No, this is part of setup.
Oh, and reveal. Sorry, I missed that part. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Second, this surges for the Ravenous Warg.
So, not to interrupt you, Derek, but I always had the question about this quest of whether during setup counts as a round for Bolg's effect.
Oh, I see what you're saying. First Goblin
I
Revolt.
always had that question of what does it count as the round? Because technically the first round begins when you start. So, does
Yeah, you
that
make a
very
good
first
point.
one surge?
I mean, they did
go-
make that change a
You
while
guys
back
think-
where they said that anything that happens is set up that says until the end of the round goes until the end of the first round. So I don't know.
Right. Right.
That is a good point, though. Technically, the setup is not a round. I don't know.
Well, do we want to make it more challenging and say it does surge? I don't even. That wouldn't even necessarily make it more challenging. It's just instead of actually in staging, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't matter really.
It's
either
kind of
way.
like of one kind, half a dozen of the
Yeah.
other.
Because it only if this is the first round, then it still only happens once, and it wouldn't happen during the staging. Yeah.
Right. All right.
That's true.
Let's go. All right. Second card. Wow, we're getting lots of
More orcs.
It's going to be interesting.
Oh,
Bodyguard.
bodyguards.
Yep.
On location. We love those in 4-player games.
Each player must.
Player marker. Oh, no.
Oh no! Oh,
Where are you, Eleanor?
isn't she a
Oh, this is
dwarf?
brutal.
Can Owen be Eleanor? Can we pretend?
Oh, my goodness
Oh, it can be
gracious.
canceled anyway.
Yeah, couldn't we?
That's,
This is just what has to happen.
We are in serious trouble. Wow.
What is my threat? 30? Oh god.
All right. But do you have any
They're all going to be
preferences?
engaged with them. So,
Goblins are upon us. That's not good.
Wow.
Okay, let's go do these guys because that way they're kind of their one reveal is kind of gnarly. So maybe we'll just go ahead and do them.
yeah, and they're pretty weak.
Yeah.
Engage with us. I might get back a bearded slayer this first
I
turn.
have no problem with that.
Slayer.
Pick someone with 2 hit points. Is that an option?
Yeah, whoever we want.
Well, then I want 2 hit points because I don't care of it.
It's probably got a bulk ship down there.
Yeah, I'm going to take one of the climbers.
Okay, climbers. Yes.
Okay, let's do. Do boot. All right, is that satisfactory?
Yep.
Sure.
Got a battle on our hands.
Yeah. Funny thing that. Okay, fourth card is.
Ah, and they don't
Bats.
die because of Dallin was not questing. That sucks.
So that's a pretty good setup.
Wow.
All right. So now we 1B, and we add the other stages to quest area. We'll go ahead and flip all these over. So I'll go over these really quickly so we all know what's going on. So we've put stages 2, 3, and 4 into play, and we will remove stage 1. All right. So each of these are considered to be in play at the same time, which is ridiculous. And we choose one at the beginning of each quest stage or phase. So 2B, if there is no progress on this stage at the end of the round, each player must discard 1 random card in his hand. 3 is a battle. If there is progress on this stage at the end of the round, the first player adds the topmost enemy to the staging area. Topmost enemy from the discard pile to the staging area. And finally, 4B is a siege. If there is no progress on this stage at the end of the round, each player must discard all resources from each hero's hand. So that's the crazy difficult part of this quest, is making the decision. What's the least painful thing we could do? So, if we're able to spend our resources, maybe we won't try 4B. Those are the kinds of decisions that we're going to be making. Any thoughts on that? Or, thoughts on strategy for this quest before we hit our our first planning phase?
I mean, I would say that
Win.
the adding the enemy is probably the least onerous of any of them. We're already going to be dealing with a lot of enemies. I don't know that one more is going to make maybe it will. I don't know, but the losing all resources is pretty brutal unless you're able to spend all your resources every turn.
Okay. All right.
What do you guys think?
I will defer to you all.